Her hair is dark blonde, maybe honey. It was tied back. She was slim, about 25, 26. She had very delicate features. Her eyes are sort of cat-like, wide but alert. Her lips are full.
I don't pretend to know the
She
ways
has a
of the
long
world.
neck, high
Means
cheekbones.
to an end seems the way.
Skin
Who
is
has the most of whatever is
smooth and
best? All the better.
She had a lost look
May
in
the
her
best
eye.
man win. An eye for an eye
Direct and
is a blind man's
chilling.
rule. I wasn't born to follow. I'm nobody's fool. Any other man can
I, like many people, were fascinated when the show Killing Eve dropped in 2018. It's a spy thriller show. It's kind of a cat and mouse kind of thing. And it doesn't follow your typical kind of plot for a spy thriller. It's very engaging. And particularly one of the main characters, Villanelle, caught my attention. And in this short video essay, I'll be discussing why so many people might find themselves liking or relating to Villanelle's character, even though she's stereotypically meant to be a horrible psychopath. But I'm gonna dive deep into it and find out why people may relate to her, or what redeeming features she has, and her sort of her background. Villanelle is a very flamboyant and spontaneous character. If you've watched the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. She's always got an amazing wardrobe, very, very charming, funny, and almost childlike. And she's very fun to watch on screen. Even her kills, you see that they're very creative and fun. They're fun in a way. In her own way, she makes it look not so much fun, but it's interesting to watch her do her job. But when you take a deeper look into her personality, you can see that there's many dark and undesirable features. And while researching and analysing the show, and just watching how she interacts with other characters and how she views herself, I've become really interested in her character and what she's thinking, what's going on in her head. And there's lots of ways you can label that: psychopath, sociopath. And the point of this video is kind of to dive into that, but also explore why people might relate to her and find her character so captivating.
There's something about the way you are.
And the answers I received from my survey shows me that complex characters are often the ones people relate to most. Well-written characters that go through change and feel very human and 3D. As well as that, a majority of people agree that relating to a character, they take in the negative and positive traits of a character relating. Which shows that characters with more human-like emotions or feelings often end up the ones that people relate to the most. The answers I received from people's opinions of Villanelle reassured me that not everyone perceives her as a textbook psychopath, but someone who is traumatized, complex, and full of so many emotions, but also take into account her positive traits such as her humour, her love for languages, and how brutally honest she is. And so, for my research, I also put a poll on my Twitter, because I'm quite active on Killing Eve Twitter, and also my followers are also interested in Killing Eve. So I asked the question, do you think that Villanelle displays more psychopathic or sociopathic traits? And out of the 19 answers, 68% said sociopath. And obviously, I wanted to explore that more.
You've got this strange effect on me, and I like it. You've got this strange.
While researching sociopathy and other antisocial disorders associated with lack of sympathy and narcissism, I've found a number of disorders that resonate with Villanelle's behaviour and her actions toward herself and other people. But obviously, I'm not knowledgeable in the field of psychology, so I'm not gonna downright diagnose her, but it's just what I feel and what I've read and what I think relates to Villanelle. There have been many discussions across the fandom debating on Villanelle, whether she is a sociopath or a psychopath, and her development throughout the season points more towards the sociopathic traits. But instead of relying on other people's opinions, I've been researching it myself and I'll form my own opinion, but it's really interesting to see other people's insight, and it has helped me make my decision on what I think. And yeah, I'm gonna dive more into traits of a psychopath, just general, and how they're portrayed in media. And another huge difference between psychopaths and sociopaths is sociopaths are very spontaneous, and you can see in the show Villanelle is very spontaneous. She doesn't try to hide the fact that she's obviously different from other people. When she's in the hospital with Gabriel, he is surprised when she says that a woman has stabbed her, and obviously that's taken on society's point of view that women can't be violent, and that's why she's such a good assassin, because people don't see women as violent. They don't see women violent as much as men are. And another trait of sociopath is recognizing what they're doing is wrong, but still doing it. And you can see many times in the show that Villanelle knows what she's doing wrong, and Villanelle is very hot-headed and loses her temper quite easily, and very spontaneous. She does things she's not meant to do. Like in season 1 when she kills Bill, when obviously she's not been told to do that, and she gets punished for that. And she struggles in social situations, as season 1 again, when she's put in a group with other people to complete a job. She doesn't get on with them. She doesn't do her job. But after, obviously, she kills them. And after she does her job, she doesn't work well in social situations. She's very blunt, to the point. And you could say that's because of lack of empathy, and that is obviously there is a lack of empathy, but you can see there's a small bit of empathy for people she cares about, like Constantine, Eve, and you can maybe even say children. She's very different around children, like with Irina. Irina recognises that Villanelle is sad. She says, I think you're sad. And that's really interesting to see, because I feel like Villanelle lets her inner child out when she's around children. She feels more comfortable, if that makes sense. And yeah, I feel like that's because of her obviously traumatic past, which I'll go into now. And many sociopaths are made because of their childhood. That applies in Villanelle. She obviously doesn't have a very good relationship with her mother. Clearly something abusive going on there. Her mother was a drunk. She abandoned Villanelle, actually. And she clearly wasn't close with her mother, and I think that may be why she chases after older women, um, especially ones who give her the attention that she wanted from my mother, like Anna. And going on about Anna, Villanelle, she was about 16, 17 when she met Anna, and Anna was a grown woman. Um, a lot of people in the fandom have recognised that as grooming, and it's a pointer to Villanelle's trauma and why she is the way she is, and why she is so cold when she's I actually found a video that discusses what is the most dangerous personality type, and it discussed something called a dark empath, which made me want to research it even further. It is a relatively new term, but in the video, the traits did share some similarity to villanelle. So I researched it more, and after watching another video, I actually came to the conclusion that dark empath doesn't fit her personality type, as she's very spontaneous and finds it difficult to read others' emotions, and dark empaths make sure they seem genuine and understand people's emotions deeply, and they are very meticulous. They plan everything to a point, and that is not villanelle. It doesn't describe her. And while I'm doing this video, I want to include some things that Judy Comer said about playing villanelle, and she describes villanelle's character as a very complex character to play. And I find it quite interesting that Jodie mentioned that she found it difficult to understand Villanelle, but as the episodes went on and she started to understand Villanelle's character more, I'm referencing this from a interview from Jodie Comer. I think it was just after season 1 had dropped, and she discusses Villanelle's accent and how her and Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is the writer and producer of the first 2 seasons of Killing Eve, wanted people to be able to not pinpoint her accent. And though Villanelle is Russian by nationality, she spent most of her life in Paris and travelling European countries. Her accent is definitely European, but you can hear the influence of other countries, and also due to the fact she speaks other languages, and again that points to her passion for languages and travelling and seeing things. But then that's also within her job, being an assassin. And another video I watched that actually inspired the reasoning to do this video was Why We Love Difficult Women. That was the title of the video, Why We Love Killing Eve, Psychopath, which obviously I'm arguing against in this video. But yeah, in general, the video was a really good watch. The video discusses why so many people like Villanelle's character. There are many themes brought up, such as her charm, childlike personality, and how intelligent and skilled she is at her job. Also the fact that she displays dark emotions that we have deep with ourselves and we may want to do but we don't act out. And seeing that on TV, obviously that invokes kind of a, wow, I understand that, I get that. So yeah, I found that video really interesting, and I thought it was really insightful, and the person who did it obviously had researched a lot on Villanelle, and yeah. Another thing, I was researching on Reddit, and there was a / Killing Eve discussion, and I scrolled through it and I found one that states that Villanelle isn't a psychopath, and they discuss that Villanelle is a sociopath at most, and they explain that it is clear she experiences emotions, and not in the way that a normal person would, but she still does. And talking about the fact that she does have feelings for Eve, and we've seen her act impulsively so many times, and she's very consumed by her emotional drive and acts very spontaneously. And she had empathy for her little brother in season 3 when she went to go visit her family. She was clearly hurt by her mother and her rejection. And most of her actions are like clearly motivated by emotional triggers rather than prospect of personal gain or meaningless violence. And they also say at the end, I'm sure she has several personality disorders, but sociopathy isn't one. I'll say she resembles something of antisocial personality disorder combined with borderline. And on a finishing note, I want to just explain why I decided to do this. And I've always been really intrigued by Villanelle's character. I feel there's much more to her than the classic psychopath, and I believe she's like very misunderstood, and on an exterior she may seem very cold and lacking any empathy at all, but when you really zoom into her character and analyse her interactions with other characters and how she acts when alone and how she experiences emotions even if they are not to the extent that people without antisocial personality disorder may, you can see she's a lot more complex. I think that's what really drew me to deciding to pursue this topic and research her more, and my love for the show. And yeah, I just really find myself drawn to her character. She's very interesting and interesting to talk about. And obviously, like many Killing Eve fans, I am very upset about the ending of season 4, and I'm pretending it didn't happen. I pause whenever I rewatch Killing Eve, I pause it just before it gets to that bit, because then it feels like they had a good ending. Her and Eve had a good ending. But I really hope this video essay discussion, podcast kind of type video really interested you and engaged you, and I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did making it, because it was really fun to make. And yeah, thank you so much for watching and listening.